started to think about some of the dangers of social networking, and that's really what the premise of this is today. I will tell you that for any of you that have accounts out on any of the social networking sites, once you get on there and start requesting friends or get friend requests from people, it starts to spread like wildfire. And really, it's kind of an amazing phenomenon that's happening right now. So Joe mentioned basically who I am. Currently, I'm supporting a contract for the Army, systems engineering. I'm a software engineer at heart. Those are some of the things that I know. I've had experience with government, healthcare, financial industry, as well as auditing in the past. And currently I'm working for SAIC. I've almost worked for SAIC for 4 years, thanks to Samantha Killian back in the back and Tech Systems. They came and recruited me. That's a shameless plug for you guys back there. I've also worked at the Marshall Space Flight Center, Raymond James Financial, and a few other places. I'm vice president of the ISSA here, and I was co-chair of the seminar last June. I currently teach these courses at University of Alabama at Huntsville, the Department of Continuing Education, and I passed out some flyers for some of the upcoming courses if you guys are interested. Feel free to come up and talk to me about any of that stuff after the presentation here. I am Gator. We are in the heart of football season, and I am in Alabama. So, how many Gators are in the house today? All right, go Gators. Yeah, it's kind of like we're fish out of water up here. You know, everybody's either in Alabama or Auburn or Tennessee, Kentucky. You know, people Georgia. But really, it's kind of fun to be the fish out of water up here. And I'm CISSP. So when we talk about social networking sites, really the focus is on building online communities. You join them to share interests about yourself or to go and find interests about others. It's really amazing once you get into it, the amount of useless time you spend out there perusing these social networking sites. Really, it's starting to encourage new ways of communication. I know, like I said, my family joined, and they live down in the Tampa area. They were posting photos and videos, so it's kind of cool to see some of my nieces and nephews down there and, you know, how they're growing. So it's really a neat way to start to communicate a little bit better than you know, printing out images and sending them via snail mail. And it's a great way to reconnect with long-lost friends, maybe, you know, high school sweethearts for any of you out there, co-workers. Really, it's a great way to reconnect. So social networks are primarily built on trust. Like I was saying, you create relationships with families and friends, classmates, people that have the same interests with you, as well as some people are brave enough to friend co-workers. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on in one of the slides. So how many social networking sites are out there? Well, I got tired of counting, around 200, so that's the number that I'm putting up there, right around 200. Facebook is the most widely used worldwide, with Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, LinkedIn, most widely used in North America. So how many followers do we have in the audience here? And by show of hands, I'm just going to kind of go over each one of these down here. How many people have an account on Facebook? Raise your hand. That's kind of what I expected. About 3/4 of the audience, a little bit more than that. All right, how about Twitter? How many of you guys have an account on Twitter? All right, a little bit less than half, it looks like. LinkedIn? All right, that's kind of good. That looked about the same amount as Facebook. So then the last question I have, how many of you guys have accounts on multiple social networking sites? Raise your hand. And based off of everybody that raised their hand, I kind of figured that there would be multiple people in there. So you can kind of see that just based off of the jury of our peers here, there's a bunch of people that are on it, and we'll get into some specific numbers on this next slide here. Facebook currently has 300 million users on it. The largest is the United States with right around 95 million. The UK doesn't even come close to second, really, to the United States.
Based on population.
Well, that's true.
If we win.
But basically, off of the United States, I kind of put another diagram that I got from this checkfacebook.com. Out of the 99 or 95 million people, it's about 30% of the global audience. You can see that primarily, or the majority of people that are on Facebook are female, which is kind of neat to see. The demographics down here, the age distribution, really the 18 to 44 seems to take up the biggest piece of the pie. And they say, some of the articles and the research that I've done to put this thing together, they say that the fastest growing age bracket is 35 to 44. So, like I said when I started, social networking is such a huge phenomenon now that I had to choose a guinea pig. And I chose Facebook as my experiment today and my presentation today. So that's primarily what I'm going to be talking about. So what is Facebook? Basically, you go on and create a profile, and that profile is tied to an email address. What is your Facebook profile? Well, it's really who you are on Facebook. Who am I on Facebook? I'm Ben McGee, I'm married, I have 3 kids. This is my family at Halloween time. This is my daughter, this is my son, this is my other son. I'm male, obviously. I graduated from Clearwater High School in 1993, graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. Yes, it did take me 5 years to get through it. I was born in Manassas, Virginia. I joined Facebook for networking and because my wife made me do it. I actually put a couple of these slides up here because I didn't want to disclose information to you guys, but you can update your political information on there. I could update my religion on there. This is my email address. I can put my cell phone, my home phone, my street address, my birthday. I'm 34. That means I'm over 18, I'm over 21, I'm under 65. This is where I live. Tried to make it as vague as possible, so any of you security guys out there, when you get this presentation, wouldn't be able to get me. It's in Edgewater community though. This is where I work, on the Arsenal somewhere. These are the places I shop. And these are my favorite TV shows. My wife and I watch some TV shows based off of the DVR. We love the DVR. Yes, this is Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know what to say. My wife makes me watch it.
Of course.
Yeah. It was really, I got hooked whenever former Gator Emmett Smith went on there and won. So it was kind of cool to see that. So basically, your profile is what you let people know about you on Facebook. Let me get caught up here. Move kind of fast. Okay, so for the 2 or 3 people that don't use Facebook in here, just a brief topic here of how you use it. Basically, you can go on and create a profile, like I just said, with all those neat little variables about yourself. You can request friends as well as accept friends. And just a tidbit, I was out on MSN this morning, and you guys anybody that that reads the news. I don't know, MSN may have seen this, or just wherever you get your news from. But the new Oxford American Dictionary, Word of the Year, 2009, it was unfriend. I saw that this morning. I thought I'd just throw that in here. Unfriend is actually the new word of the year for the dictionary. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Then I'll talk about unfriending here and how popular that can be in a few slides. But basically, the concept is that you go on and update your wall and comment on the status of others. You can tell people that I like what you said. There is a poll out there right now to tell people, you know what, I dislike what you said. So that'd be a cool little feature that got added here in the future. You can create and join groups for people that share a common interest. Obviously, upload photos is a big thing, and videos. Play games. We'll talk about that a little bit more here coming up. And you can chat and hold discussions in some forums. So who's using it? And this first bullet here that I have is probably says it all. Everyone who's anyone is using it, right? We're all using it in here, or at least the majority of us are using it. But employers are starting to check Facebook accounts. The government, Barack Obama has his own Facebook account, as well as many other people out there in the government community. Businesses are starting to tap into the dynamic of not only Facebook, but social networking in general. Dating services, that's a big draw that's going on right now as far as who's using it. Maybe you reconnect with somebody that you went to high school flame, and you're able to get together with them again, or whatever. Dating services is a big deal. Universities, the medical community, as well as the media. So really everybody who's anyone is using Facebook. So when I volunteered, or I don't remember, where's Joe at? Did I get volunteered, or did I volunteer to do this?
You volunteered.
I volunteered to do this. So when I volunteered to do this a little while ago, I started doing research, and I saw this right here as far as Dilbert. We find you fascinating, starts over here. Well, do you? Oh yes, every little thing you do is interesting. I didn't know that. Hey, I just had an idea. Maybe you should use Twitter and leave us little messages about all of your daily activities. It would make us feel connected to our leader and, dare I say, more motivated. Well, gosh, I suppose I could try it. I already feel an improvement in my quality of life. And they're sitting back here chilling out while I work. Where's the idiot boy now? Well, he's in the parking lot. No need to look busy. So I just thought that was kind of a neat little slide. But really, they talk about Twitter here, and really any social networking site, if you friend people from work, you got to be careful with what you say on there. And I'll talk about that here in a few more slides. So it's a huge business right now, Facebook and social networking sites in general. Like I said earlier, Facebook has 300 million users. They constantly check. And just by a show of hands, how many of you guys check your Facebook status at least once a day? Check your Facebook account. Come on, come on. Yeah, okay. How many of you guys check it weekly? All right. How many of y'all don't check it at all? Okay. All right. So typically, what you see is you have two different poles that people sit at. They either check it constantly. Some people update via their phones. But basically, it's either every hour, every day, weekly, whatever frequency, people constantly seem to check, and it can be a bit addicting. Advertising is a huge thing right now within the 300 million users. Based off of the profile that I went through before, you can do targeted advertising. So you put in your zip code, maybe they can be some sort of targeted advertising for your zip code specifically, or whatever else you put out there. And just a little potpourri here, did a search on Monster, and I saw 351 jobs last week, right now, for people that can do development on Facebook. So probably one of the most important things, in getting into the meat of the discussion here, is the privacy information. When you post your profile out there, really you should have no expectation for privacy with any information that you share. Facebook has put some stuff together that you could share your profile with everyone, friends of friends, friends only, or no one. So that's a good step in the right direction. You can do it at field level or just all in general. They also put together some interesting comments. I bet you not many people here have gone through and actually read the privacy statements that they say. But basically they say that they're going to collect your data and give you a more personalized experience based off of the data that you put in there. And this last bullet here was kind of funny. By using Facebook, you're consenting to have your personal data transferred and processed in the United States. I didn't really know exactly what that meant, but I just thought it was kind of interesting to put that up there. That, I mean, who knows who is doing what with the data that's out there. So there's a lot of good that's going on right now. A lot of websites are starting to mold their web models to adapt to the social networking phenomenon that's going on right now. It's been highly successful for small businesses that are out there with little resources to be able to reach a larger audience and gain more business that way. And there is a lot of goodness in being able to interact with people that may have the same interests that you do, like charities or nonprofits or anything in general, the people that have the same interests as you. So we talked about the good. Well, now we have the bad and the ugly. We get into cyber stalking. Basically, this is something that's pretty prevalent right now out on Facebook, based off the research that I've done. Really, people that do cyber stalking are related to relationships or bad relationships. Maybe people have broken up with people in the past, or had a divorce and they want to find out what their significant other is up to. So there's a whole bunch of ways that cyber stalking is coming into play now. One of the things that I wanted to just say about this, to kind of hit this point home, let's say Joe and I are friends on Facebook, and I wanted to stalk him. I could find out exactly what he's doing right now. If he wanted to say that he was going up to the Tommy's Pizza to have a pizza for lunch, he'd post that on Facebook, and if I wanted to go up there and do something bad, I know exactly where Joe's going to be at. Joe, I hope you don't mind me picking on you back there. All right, some other things that are going on right now. Identity theft and impersonation are pretty big things that, in doing the research, there's a lot of this going on there. Phishing. There's a bunch of viruses that are going around with Facebook applications, and we'll talk about that. And then a bunch of scams that are going on. So what I wanted to do is to try to put together some experiments. And my first experiment I'm calling user vulnerability. And basically, I just wanted to see how easy it would be for me to go out and create an experimental user and fill out the profile for that user. That's pretty easy to do. I mean, really, you don't need anything except an email address. They have got more creative with the way that they want you to create new users. Basically, you got to go into your email and verify that you got an account, but you can create a fake email and do that that way. But basically, I filled out the profile and filled out all the information from this for this person. And the amazing thing here, I filled it out with my old high school. The amazing thing here is within the first 24 hours, I got 2 friend requests. I thought that that was weird, that people, that they'd never even heard of this person before, just because we went to the same high school, went out and sent me 2 friend requests. Well, of course, I accepted it, because this was my experiment that I was trying to do. Then I went out and sent out about 50 friend requests. And about 60% of the people for this bogus user that I created accepted my friend request. So now, this guy, who I will be deleting after this meeting, by the way, has 30 friends in a 3-week period. And I'm sure that if I left him out there a little bit longer and just kept doing it, based off of the 60%, I'm willing to bet that probably I would get more people to accept me as a Facebook friend. So some of the conclusions with the first experiment that I had, they're pretty basic. I mean, if you don't recognize the person, don't accept the friend request. Send an email to the person via Facebook and ask, do I know you? And out of the 20 or so people that didn't accept my request, I will say that 2 people did do this right here. One said, how do I know you? And the other person said, I don't know you. But they sent me individual messages before accepting the friend request. So that was good to see. At least 2 out of the 50-ish wanted to know who I was. But the other 30, yeah. So even some of the friends that you currently have could potentially be a threat. And really, one of the things that I kind of found difficult when I was first joining, and I said this to my wife, is if I haven't talked to somebody in 15 years, are you really my friend? I mean, really? Are we really friends? So, do you really want to see what that friend is doing all the time? And do you really want them to see what you're doing all the time? Just something to think about there. So, some of the recommendations, whenever you're accepting friend requests, verify the validity by maybe sending them, how do I know you, if you don't recall the name immediately. But then also consider, I mean, do you really want this person to see that what you're doing whenever you post out there? And then consider removing unknown or unwanted friends. And this kind of brings up what I was talking about before with the word of the year, unfriend. How many of you guys have unfriended somebody before? Okay, that's good. I kind of felt uncomfortable the first time that I did it, but then after I started doing research on this, I was just starting to click people, right? Starting to get rid of people left and right, just based off of some of the research that I did here. I didn't want a bunch of people knowing that much about me. So the second experiment that I have is what I'm calling data mining. And this is a precursor to some other scams that are out there that we'll jump into after I get done with this. But this data mining is all about using the Facebook platform. Is there anybody that's developed with the Facebook API in here? It's good to see one of the geek is in here. Basically, Facebook exposes a markup language, they call it. It's relatively simple to use once you read about it. And basically, it allows you to have the same Facebook look and feel. You can create applications, you can create games, you can do a whole bunch of stuff with it. Facebook launched it in 2007, and they started allowing people to send gifts, posting classified ads, saying stuff about events, as well as being able to share videos with people. So it's really an extension of the API to developers now. Has anybody played Mafia Wars or Farmville lately? Didn't raise that hand very high over there. Well, those are two of the biggest games right now that are out there on Facebook. So I figured I'd get more than one person in here that would have clicked on it. But really, those are two huge applications that consume a lot of time for people out there right now. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this API. There's a lot of different methods. If you're interested, I can talk to you about it afterwards in more detail. But you can also go out and read it yourself at developer.facebook.com, which I recommend if you're interested in doing it. It's fairly easy to create a Facebook application. There's a lot of screenshots and GUIs to show you how to do it. You need your own web space, and you have to choose a programming language. For me, I chose C#, but you could certainly do it in Java, PHP, really whatever programming language you want to do. All you have to do is include the libraries into your project that you're creating. So it was relatively easy to set up, and it took me about 3 hours to figure out how to put together a Facebook application. And again, this was for experimental purposes only. So there's a false sense of security whenever you're out there and you click on some of these games or even some of the groups that are out there. Any third-party application, really people need to be aware that some of these things aren't legit, and they could be used to get access to your data. So it's important that you're careful whenever you're out there clicking on some of these applications that are out there. And I just mentioned the two most popular, but I'm sure that there's other people in here that have perused into groups or other applications, maybe became a fan of somebody. So basically the way that it works is Facebook allows you to become a developer. It's pretty easy. You go out there and you say what the application name is going to be, and you fill out some basic information about what your application does, like a description, and you tell the application where you want to redirect it to on your website. And remember how I said that you have to have your own web space. So Facebook actually redirects people to your web space. So you set up the application initially. They give you a key that you can use for the application, and you set it up to point to your virtual directory within inside of your application. So when you go on and click on one of these third-party applications that are out there, like the one that I did that I'll talk about here in a second, and I have Mafia Wars being one of the most popular ones up here. Basically, when you click on this, one of the key things here is that your profile information, photos, friends info, and other content will be accessed by this application now. So really, they do the splash page up here, and you have the ability to click allow or cancel. And once you click allow, then it will redirect you, the user, to this application on an external website. And that's where my web space came into play. So I created a Facebook application to see how much data I could collect. And this was Ben McGee that was creating it, not this bogus user. So I actually did it for my friends that are out there and got them to be my guinea pigs. So I asked friends to take my simple survey, and it could have been anything, but some